Well, good afternoon and welcome to Sports Today. I'm Ridhima Pathak, and of course, the world of sports has been shaken with the fact that Diego Maradona died last night at the age of 60. Argentina has been paying tribute to him and mourning in his death. It's been declared 3 days of national mourning in Argentina. And here's a man who is the greatest footballer to have ever lived. And we lose him. And this is a very, very big loss to the world of sports, not just football. I've got Boria Majumdar joining me. Good afternoon, Boria. I remember we were speaking about it last night, and we were speaking about Diego Maradona. We celebrated his birthday during the IPL. We were telling stories about him. I remember that interview very clearly that you mentioned about where he started speaking to his cutout, and then you threw a ball at him, and then suddenly you hear this news. And I've been watching videos of how Argentinian fans have been mourning. What did he mean to Argentina?
Life. Basically, telling them that it is not about infrastructure or facilities or money or anything. It is not about the West. It is not about. He's Diego Maradona is not Leo Messi. He's not a product of the Barcelona system. Diego Maradona is a product of poverty. Diego Maradona is a product of skill and pure genius. That you and I, someone, a boy next door, in any part of the world, be it Argentina, be it Brazil, be it Jamaica, be it any part of the world, if you have the passion, the skill, the commitment, the determination, and of course he was a genius, you can scale the heights of superstardom. He was that. He was Argentina's answer to the system that Germany has, the riches that England has, the facilities that Spain has, the infrastructure that France has, and basically telling all of these European countries that, oh, doesn't really matter what you guys have, we we have Diego Maradona. Anything
Yeah.
and everything that you throw at us, we will throw Diego Maradona back at you. And that's what he meant to them. That look, Ridhima, I mean, I'm sorry I keep harping back to the same point. This is the one man, and perhaps the only man, who has won a football World Cup all by himself. I mean, the reason I say this is Pele had the team of the century. He had Garincha, he had Vava, he had Didi, he had, just look at that 1958, 62, 70 side. Look at Carlos Alberto. By the way, I have spent enough time with Carlos Alberto during the 2014 FIFA World Tour uh, to understand this. And he kept saying that, look, that 1970 side was an unbelievable side. Same with 58 and 62. Diego, if you take a look at the rest of the squad, Boruchaga, Valdano, average, maybe just above average, to have that team and then to win them a World Cup, a FIFA World Cup, almost on his own, extraordinary. Absolutely. That's called genius. And that
Yeah.
is why he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah. I remember you saying that last night that I only wish, and I think it has really like rung a bell with me, and I was thinking about it all night. That you said, I really wish that he goes to his grave with that football. And that is how crazy. Yeah.
You're right. I said, I mean, this is actually my wish that wherever he is, I know, we are Hindus, we are Indians, I don't know. I mean, whatever, if you believe in afterlife, if he's at the gates of heaven, the gatekeepers should just give him a football. That is the only way he will be at peace with himself. Otherwise, he's not at peace. He couldn't be at peace with himself in this world. The only time mentally he would be at peace is when he has that football in his hand, or on both of his feet, more the left
Yeah.
one. That's him. I mean, I was thinking back just like you did, and I remember, I mean, these personal little stories when he was going away. Okay, so we had four tumultuous days. When I say tumultuous, I actually mean tumultuous. High, low, high, low. Do you know I threatened him? I actually threatened him. I said,
What
you
did you
walk
say?
out of this interview, because it was a committed interview. It was
Yeah.
part of a contract. we had paid for it. It was signed, sealed, done. And it was not me. I mean, there was a whole team that had worked on getting Maradona to India, and you can go and ask anybody. And all of a sudden, it was all done. Everything had been prepared, and he said, "I'm not going to do it." He just refused. And now that's Diego. And all we said was, "Fair enough. You are not doing anything that you have promised. So all we will do is we will also walk out of here and not provide security anymore." That's all we said. Because he knew that there were 20,000 people screaming outside my museum. And all I said was, "Boss, I can't handle this anymore. We are all walking out. You go to the hotel, you do what you want. But we can't take this stress anymore. Everything we ask of you, you say no. So then let 20,000 people come and do what you want with them. We are going." And that's when he agreed. So this is the tumultuous part of it. Imagine you are having to do this with Diego Maradona. So that's one side. On the other side, as he was leaving, and as I said, 4 tumultuous days, as he was leaving, his translator asks me, "So now that you have met Pele and you have met Diego, who do you think is the greatest?" Now I knew that he knew what my answer would be. I mean, obviously, if in front of him this question is being asked, and I could see that wicked smile on his face. He looks at me, puts his hand around my shoulder, and he says, "There is a lot of passion in this country. Tell your people, tell your federation, this country can go places. It has so much passion, only it needs a structure. I would be happy to come and work for Indian football." These were the
Nice.
words. So unbelievable. I mean, little stories. Okay, I'll tell you one
Yeah.
more.
Let's- Yeah.
This was the first program that we did for cancer patients. Okay, so there were about 5-6,000 people. There was a charity ball. I mean, mass kind of program, and we were on stage. So I said that, "Can you sign some footballs and kick them into the crowd, because then it'll mean the world to the crowd." So he was agreeable to doing that. So so he said yes. I gave him the balls. Believe me, Ridhima, within fraction of a second, his face had changed, and I didn't understand what was going on. He turned, okay, he turned like this with his back to me, like so the Maradona had his back to the crowd,
Hmm.
and in a fraction of a second, I mean, I could visualize it. He backheeled 3 footballs, like tuck, 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 in 3 different corners of the crowd. My jaw fell. And you should have seen the skill. Just backheels the football, tongue gone, tongue gone, tongue gone. And the whole crowd was in raptures. And I had my, eyes bulging out. And he knew what he had done. He knew he was very much in control. And he just enjoyed that moment. And he
Nice.
patted me on the back and he was like, you know, "The England team couldn't stop me in 1986. You idiot, who are you?" So it was like that, but some unbelievable moments.
But then let's just start from the beginning. Let's talk about his childhood and how do you think he inculcated this skill in him and the way he broke onto the scene?
See, childhood was a very tough childhood. I mean, obviously, if you see poverty and fighting with poverty and did not get enough to eat and all of that and struggling and as a young child, but he was blessed. Now, any and every report, whether it is for Boca Juniors, whether it is for any other team, if you see from the start, he was a blessed footballing talent, and there's no mistake about it. When he broke into the scene, see, my earliest memory of Diego is the 1982 World Cup, and I remember my house. Did we have color TV? Yes. Just about the time when we had color television. I don't think we had color television at home. We had black and white, but I remember watching the 1982 World Cup. And that's when Diego, I don't think anybody has been beaten as much as Diego, or been tackled as much as Diego, or been hit as much as Diego. And like real tough tackles. They were going for him. And here was an 18-year-old. Unbelievable
Yeah.
skill, but getting just smashed by the defenders. And that's when that red card happened. Losing his
Yeah.
cool, and I still remember that foot going there and crying and walking out of the pitch. Now that was the coming into the scene. Now, and he told me about it. He said, as he walked away, he said they had the better of me because I was 18. Mentally, I was fragile. It was important for me to win a World Cup on my own and tell them, you know what, you can keep beating me, keep hitting me, keep kicking me. I know what I need to do. I will not fall. I cannot fall. And
Yeah.
I mean, somebody who can say that that hand of God can save the world from Corona, you understand what level of confidence that fellow has, right? And
Yeah.
then came 86. 86 was sublime. I was 10 years old. I remember we at that point in time got these dishes that we called it the dish antenna, which we put on our terraces, and we caught the signal and watched that World Cup live color TV, and it was Diego Maradona. I mean, that England game, Gary
Yes.
Lineker was playing very well, hand of God. You saw the second goal, but what
Yes.
people don't remember is, do you remember the follow-up game? Belgium,
No.
2 goals. If you go to YouTube now and check the 2 goals that he scored in the next game, just check that. They were as good as the England goal. I mean, England goal is obviously a touch above, but they are as good. And Belgium was playing sublime football. Again, 2 goals, beating Belgium single handedly, taking his team to the final. Then winning that final, 3-2 Germany. Unreal.
Yeah. We've lost your audio, Burida. I think you're getting a call.
Yeah,
And we'll have him back.
I basically getting a call. I was basically getting a call because I wanted to do something special on Maradona for Sports Today with Sandesh Jingan and David Williams. So they are calling to confirm. With your permission, I'll take that call and tell our viewers about
Please,
it. Give me 1 minute. Okay.
please.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're discussing Maradona today, and of course, it's a huge loss for the world of sports, and some great stories coming away on Sports Today. Let's take a few questions here. We've got Sachin here. We've got Ritvik Datta asking, can you tell us more about his talent and the '86 World Cup? I think we very subtly touched upon it, but we're going to take that again when Boryada comes back. And we've got a lot of questions on Rohit, and I will tell you that we'll be discussing about the India tour of Australia very soon. But today, since this was the breaking news, I must tell you that 3 days of national mourning has been declared by the president of Argentina. And I've been taking a look at the clips, and Argentinian fans have been sort of celebrating Maradona and mourning at the same time for the past since last day and since last night. And it is a huge loss for the world of sports. My memory of Maradona for sure is watching clips of him, because I was actually not born, but watching clips of that World Cup and what he meant to the world. And of course, that particular story that Borja told us about that interview, which I'll very quickly touch upon, was the fact that when he was getting interviewed by Borja, I was just recapping the story of that interview that you did, Borja, with Maradona, where he started speaking to the cutout, and the fact that you asked, who wasn't the question that you asked him,
For
that who do
some
you think
reason,
is the
I'm having
greatest?
some audio issues.
Okay. So I think the question that he asked him was, who do you think is the greatest between Pele and Maradona? And he started speaking to the cutout in his language. And then the translator,
Yeah, and
when you asked, yeah,
just before you say that, keep a watch and tell our technical people to keep a watch. David Williams will join the show just now and will be part of the show. So,
awesome. I think they
and
got it.
Roy Krishna and David Williams are the two best that ATK Mohun Bagan has. And David almost won the ISL last year for them. So can't be a better person. I can also get Gurpreet Sandhu if our viewers want and fans want in the afternoon to talk about Maradona. So we can absolutely get Gurpreet. I'll request Gurpreet to join also. But for the moment, David is agreeable. The ATK Mohun Bagan team management just confirmed to me that I've sent him the StreamYard link. So Abhin and our technical people, please watch out. David Williams will join Ridhima and me in the next very few minutes. Yeah.
Perfect. Looking forward to that. But what was the question you asked him when he started speaking to the cutout? You asked him who was the greatest that he thinks between Pele and him?
Yeah.
Was that the question you asked
I
him?
asked him.
Okay.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, I will never forget. I've never seen anybody do that. And I will never see anybody do that. He literally, I mean, all of us there. and I will
You
send you the
threw a ball at
photograph,
him.
Riddhima. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was later in the interview. I mean, people think I'm lying. I'm not lying. I'm not exaggerating. Trust me, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, can you see? I was feeling weak, but now that you asked me this, somehow I'm getting that sort of
And
excitement. What
so, what
happened
was he
was
speaking to the cutout? Yeah, please.
so he enters the museum. Okay, it's a big museum, as
Yeah.
you've seen photographs. So I said to him, and at that point in time, 2017, Cristiano Ronaldo had claimed he's the greatest, or something like that. There comes David.
Hello.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hi, buddy. Good to see you again, and
Hi.
many congratulations
Hi,
on
David.
everything. But today we come on a very different way. Can you hear me, David?
Yes, I can. No problem.
You can. Thank you very much for joining. My colleague Riddhima,
Hello.
David, and we were just saying that
Hi.
we celebrated you big time last year after the 80K final. Now it's 80K Mohun Bagan. But today we congregate in celebrating Diego Maradona. So, Riddhima, over to you. My first question to you, and then she can take it.
No problem.
What does Diego Maradona mean to you?
He's an icon of world football. Everyone, knows who he is, even if they don't know too much about football. So he's in everyone's living room, and I guess he showed the way of football for how we play these days. And it's a long time since he played football, and everyone still speaks about him. So, probably the top three best players in the world.
Yes. I would just like to say that whether you watch football, you know football, or you don't know football, I think everybody still knows Maradona. He's that man. So, what was it about his talent that probably stuck by you, David?
Oh, you just see the natural talent. As a footballer, I think you look at players differently. I say top three players because the game of football has changed in terms of the fitness, sports science, tactics, rules. So I think, you can look at it a few different ways. He's, it's very difficult to say too much because obviously I don't know. I didn't see many of his live games at all. Don't think I saw one live game, but I still have followed what he's done and the trophies he's won, the way he gives people a new look at life. I think that's one of the most important things.
I was telling Riddhima a story. Let's tell David this story. David, I've interviewed him. In fact, spent 4 days with him. Okay, and he came to my museum in Calcutta. So, Joynil and Mr. Goenka both are aware of this. So he comes to the museum, and at that point in time, because you mentioned the changes in football, and I'll mention this to you, there's a bit of an audio issue there.
Sorry, I'm just go inside. I'm outside at the moment. I don't know if it's my issue.
Yeah, I think it is, but it's okay as long as you can hear
fine.
me.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. So he comes into the museum, and at that point in time, Cristiano Ronaldo had claimed that he's the greatest footballer. So I tried to be the journalist that I am and said, oh, you know what? Cristiano Ronaldo claims he's the greatest footballer. What do you have to say to that? And his translator looked at me and obviously passed on the question that this fellow is saying Ronaldo claims he's the greatest footballer. Diego Maradona was standing like this. Obviously, he put on weight. He was huge. He was fat and all that. So and I had installed a big cutout, a giant cutout from the 1986 England match in my museum in his honor. So he literally runs to that cutout, okay? And it's about 15 meters. He runs to that cutout and embraces the cutout like this. I've got photos. I can show you photos here right now. So he embraces the cutout like this and starts talking to the cutout. Now, obviously, I don't follow what he was talking. He constantly started like 1, 2, 3, 4, and that continued for about 2 minutes. And then I asked his translator, I said, what is he saying? What is this man saying? So, and the translator was laughing and laughing and laughing. I'm like, what is going on here? He says he's telling the cutout that you were the greatest footballer. I am also the greatest footballer. And now in this physique, I have put on whatever 100 kilos. Cristiano Ronaldo is not even as good as this physique. So what is this fool talking about Cristiano Ronaldo being the greatest? And then he gets the cutout like this, puts it next to him, and he says, "Now you ask me the questions." Because this cutout was from that England game and has played the best ever football of all time. And I thought, is it vanity? Is it what? But it was character. It was unbelievable. I mean, and I asked him a couple of questions, David. Like, for example, when Ridhima and I asked you a question, you answered it with intent. When I asked him a question, he was dismissive of me. He was not even bothered. He was like sitting like this. And just as if, what are you doing? Why are you wasting my time and your time? Get out from here, like that. That's when I took a ball, because I had to salvage that interview. So I threw the ball at him. Trust me. I mean, obviously, you are one of the most skillful. That header of yours last year from that Provir Das back snap, and then that header going into that right corner. Unreal. But this man, and then he started juggling the ball from his head to his toe and doing it as if just sitting like this. He's doing this. And I'm like, am I seeing this for real? This continued for 2 minutes. I will never forget those 2 minutes in my life.
I think.
And then he threw it back at you, right?
Oh,
yeah, then he threw the ball back at me.
Can we try and get this volume, this noise thing sorted out? Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Maybe you can go out and reconnect again. Yeah. So then he threw the ball back at me. So, he signed it for me and gave it to me.
Yeah.
So I have the ball with me now.
And is that jersey also signed that you're wearing?
Yeah, not this one. The one I'm wearing is not signed. This is the Argentina official crest, yes. But this is not signed, no. But if you want one, Ridhima, I'll happily give it to you. I've got about 7-8 things signed by Diego, so don't worry.
I would love that. All right, Bolga, we've got a lot of fans with you. It is. It really
there
is.
You are.
Ah, good. Sorry, I just put my headphones in.
Something's going on with the audio.
It must have been my.
Is it my audio? Is it? Should I go out and come in again?
No, it's not your audio. Bolga.
Sorry,
it's not your audio.
Sorry, mate.
All right. Meanwhile, Bolga, we've got. No problem. Well, meanwhile, we've got a lot of fans who've tuned in. So let's just quickly take their questions, Bolga, because of course they have a lot to say about Maradona.
Ask David.
Yes, we've got Cricket Corner asking you, David, one thing that you learned from Maradona. I guess watching him.
Yeah, well, like Boria is saying, he's just talented with what he can do. Everything is so natural. So I think you have to learn from what your natural ability is and progress with that. Instead of, trying to play like someone else. I guess everyone's trying to play like Maradona or play like Ronaldo and do the same free kicks as them or whatnot. I think as a player, you have to find naturally what you're good at, what your strength is, and try and perfect it.
Right. Bolga, what about you? You had the chance to interact with him personally. What did he teach you?
Sorry, I've lost you guys.
I mean, what he taught me, I mean, I enjoyed his wit, but as I said, see, interviewing a David Williams or speaking to a David Williams or any international sportsman for that matter is so much enjoyable. Trust me, how do I describe my 4 days with Maradona? Believe me, it was not enjoyable. It was tumultuous. He's a tough man, was a tough man. I mean, he's the perfect example of what you call a flawed genius. He's mad. We were traveling from Calcutta, and David Williams has been in Calcutta. He will know. He has played at the Juhu Bharati Kridangan. Actually, we were at the Novotel Hotel, where I think David stayed last year when he was playing for ATK at the Novotel Hotel. They were staying at one of those hotels in Rajarhat only. So from there to the Salt Lake Stadium takes what, about 25 minutes? He enters the car and he starts banging the back seat like boom, 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 boom. Can you imagine that? Whole journey.
Why?
When are we getting off? When are we getting off? What are we doing? And because you don't understand his language, all you know is you're sitting in the front seat and someone's beating the back seat, boom, boom, boom. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that is Maradona. I can't explain this man to you, Ridhima. I mean, he went to Bobby Hakim's puja. He didn't get off. He didn't get off. He just said, "No, I won't get out." He stayed in the car and he went back. That's it. So that's the other side of it. He was a flawed genius, maverick. He couldn't come to terms with his talent. On the pitch, yes. And the same man, he said, "This is not part of my contract to go to a puja." Fine. And then he goes to this Aditya Academy school, fantastic stadium. These friends of mine, Aditya Academy School. And with kids, he spent 45 minutes as if teaching them. Believe me, he was supposed to do it for 15 minutes. He spent 45 minutes without even batting an eyelid. That's him. David Williams will tell you. Ask him. He stayed in I think, the same hotel, Novotel. From there to Salt Lake Stadium is what, 15 minutes? Now, if he starts banging the back seat of the car, and when I'm driving him, I mean, I would be nervous. I'll hit somebody, right? And this is what Diego Maradona was doing. He's mad. He was. That's the kind of character he was. I've interacted with Pele. I've interacted with Maradona. I've spent 3 days with Pele, 3 days with Maradona. Pele is sane. He's a sane genius. This man is mad. He doesn't know what he's doing or did not know what he was doing. His father-in-law was with us, David. I've got to tell you this story. His father-in-law was with us in Calcutta. So he was supposed to do this program for us. And he said, "No, I won't do this program. Get out." So we were like, "We've paid the sponsors. What are you saying? We've spent enough money." So we told his father-in-law, "Please go convince him and get him down." After about, 15-20 minutes, his father-in-law comes and he says, "He scratched me here. I can't do anything." And we were in shock. We were in shock that he's actually scratched him here. He showed us. And we couldn't believe what. So we had to call his lawyer in Argentina saying, "Please tell him he has to do this program. Otherwise, we'll sue you." So that lawyer called him back and then he came down to do the program. This is Maradona. We all lost years. Our blood pressure went up when we had to deal with this man. But on the pitch, he's God. That's the genius of this man you have to understand. David, I mean, when I see you play, you and Roy, and I've watched all of you, all of the games I've commentated, the kind of flair that you bring tells me a little bit about the flair that we celebrate in Diego. Is it, I mean, tell me about this pairing and you know, what stands out for me in Maradona was to be able to win a FIFA World Cup with the kind of team he had in '86 makes him perhaps the greatest. Your thoughts?
I agree with you. I don't have any doubts about that. Yeah, with Roy, I do what I can to make him look good and him to get in front of goal. He's got a very good shot. He's very naturally gifted. A lot of Fijian Indians, they tend to go for rugby, but Roy stands out from the crowd and goes against that. He loves rugby, I know that, but football is what he's talented at, and you can see that he probably puts the same smile on the faces that Maradona would give of his people back in Fiji, and they're proud of where he's from. I know where he's from. I've played with him for the last 2 years now. I think we complement each other quite well, but for us, I speak to him and I say to other people, we're here to entertain. This is the job we're in. We get paid money to entertain people who pay to watch. So we have the responsibility to make this enjoyable and, not boring. And the way that we play football here at ATK Mohambagan is, counter-attacking, the game's changing, but it's exciting to go from one end of the pitch very quickly up to the other end. I feel like we have a good way of playing, and with the squad that we have, the coach is using everyone to their best ability. So it's not just myself giving, Roy those assists or whatnot. We have some very good players also joining in. So I don't want to take too much credit of being too, like up front with Roy. We did this, we did that. But I think, that everyone contributes to the way that we play football. And yeah, I like to play free. The coach has given me a little bit of freedom in the front three to come deep or to run in behind. So I've got, a few jobs I have to do defensively as well. But if I can do that, then, the attacking just comes at a free, a free wave of in the front three. What we do is up to us.
Ridhima?
Well, David, yes, brother.
Yeah, you go on.
I've got a question. I've got a question for David that Ritvik Datta is asking you, one of our viewers. He's asking you, can India produce a Maradona?
I think no one could ever be like Maradona. They could probably be someone themselves, someone different. And that's just not India. No one, I don't think an Australian can become Maradona. I don't think a Brazilian can do what he has done. He is one of a kind. India can produce their own special talent. But the thing is, it's so difficult at grassroots when they're young. I would, for sure, I put money on it that Maradona was trying to kick a ball before he could even walk. I'm sure he had a football there. There was, a lot of players have even said that they have photos that they're rolling around with the ball before they can even walk or run or kick. So I think if, the parents are obviously putting the kids into football earlier, that it's more beneficial. I think India doesn't have the right structure to produce younger talent because the facilities aren't there. Maybe also the passion isn't there as well. It's a difficult one to say because you just never know where people are coming from, what they're doing. But I would just, my advice is start young, start as young as you can, and at this stage try and produce more Chetris because he's done so well for the country, and I think everyone else has to, all the young kids, male and female, have to look up to him and say, I want to be like him. This generation now, and even the younger generation, they won't know so much of Maradona. They will be watching YouTube clips, maybe documentaries and whatnot. But yeah, it's sad of his passing, but I think his legacy will live on for a long time.
Ridhima, with your permission, I'll ask him one question I can't not. He plays for the team that I live for. I mean, I live 5 minutes from Mohun Bagan Lane, okay? And I'm you mentioned passion. Our house is embodiment of that passion that is ATK Mohun Bagan, okay? I mean, 14 of us used to get into one three-wheeler to go and watch Mohun Bagan play. Wow. As a child. So that kind of passion we had. Now you're going to play, you played for ATK, yes, but you're going to play actually the game that defines Indian football tomorrow. Thoughts? I mean, we don't care what you do in the rest of the league. We don't. Fans don't. I mean, and here, by the way, I'm a rational person. I'm a journalist. I'm a commentator. I'm an academic. I'm a professor. Having said that, when it comes to that one game, I don't care. You don't score for the rest of the tournament, David Williams, you're fine. You score against SC East Bengal, you're a superstar. So tell me the thoughts about playing SC East Bengal.
I hear this from the players in the team every day for the last probably month. It's this one game, obviously, for the fans defines the season. As a player, we have to think differently. We have to have open mind and think about our long-term targets. But I totally understand it. And if there wasn't this passion in football, it wouldn't be a high-paying job, or we wouldn't have high ticket numbers, people coming to the stadiums. What makes it for the players is the atmosphere. Obviously, you're probably wondering, how the player feels playing in front of no fans. It's terrible. It's not great. It's like a training game. But again, like I said, I bring back to what's my job, what's our job as players. We have to perform no matter what, when there's fans or not. But this game, yeah, it's going to be huge. I wish I was playing in Salt Lake tomorrow. in front of 100,000. This would be amazing. It's also a dream of players to play in front of big crowds. And I know it's a difficult situation with the COVID, but also for some fans, which I don't want to touch on too much, but a difficult situation of the merger as well. The colours for me, it's the team that I play for, that I'm signed with. It's now maroon and green. We have to move on. We have to do our job, and I'll give everything I can. I want to score, but I also want to score in other games. I also want to score, I want to score last week. I want to score tomorrow. So I feel like, this is a game for the fans, obviously. And I'll do what I can with the minutes that I get to put pride into the maroon and green side of Kolkata, and I hope we come out on top. 1 second, I'm getting bothered all the time at my door. 1 second.
Ridhima, I don't know if you follow Mohun Bagan East Bengal
10 minutes.
like the way
Thank you.
I do, but like David was talking, when I was growing up, if Mohun Bagan lost, there would be no food at home for me. I wouldn't eat. And if Mohun Bagan wins, there is 100% going to be the best prawns available. I will ensure that I get the best prawns. Okay. So tomorrow, pre-ordered best prawns at home are ready, in assumption of a David Williams, Roy Krishna strike, and ATK Mohun Bagan win. And again, for me, ATK Mohun Bagan ATK, these things are all semantics. What ultimately matters is Indian football benefits from the corporate structure. So only passion cannot do the job. So I totally get it. But trust me, Ridhima, when these guys play tomorrow, it's as big as Barca, Real, Manchester United, Manchester City. And I've watched all of these games in the stadiums. Mohun Bagan East Bengal, ATK Mohun Bagan SC East Bengal is a different kettle of fish. David Williams, as I told him, he cannot score for the rest of the season. Each of us will say, it's fine, David, doesn't matter, man. Just score against SC East Bengal and finished. You've earned your paycheck, now go back. So it's like that. But David, is there pressure?
Oh, sorry, Rima, do you have a question? Sorry, first, Gloria.
I have to thank you for being honest. That's
all right. It's all right. Look, honesty is hard to come by in football sometimes. Sometimes if you're honest, you get in trouble. But I'm an open guy, and sometimes honesty has got me in trouble. It's put me on the bench sometimes as well, or out of the squad. But it's hard to hold your tongue. But I would like to give the fans also what they want to hear. It's difficult times, but we're all in it together. So we're all on the same team. We're all on the same side, and we have the same goals. The same mission is to beat East Bengal. So we have a lot of fans from ATK. A lot more fans from Mohun Bagan. Let's make it a powerhouse. And it already is. People are afraid. All I see on the advertising is East Bengal and Mohun Bagan. Everything is, it's not about other games being played at the halftime of all these games playing every night. It's us in the ad breaks and the water breaks. I mean, it's all us. So I don't see back to your question earlier, Boria, for me, I don't see pressure because, we're not going out in front of, 90 to 100,000 people. There's pressure then when there are people on your back and there's noise and the lead up. I'm sure if we were in training in Kolkata, there'd be people all over the training ground. But that's also a buzz for the team. When you see as a player that support, there's another level, an extra gear that you find somewhere that you don't normally have. I've played in derbies before when I was in Denmark against FC Copenhagen when I played for Brøndby, and Brøndby fans are unbelievable. There's stuff on YouTube that, I get goosebumps still when I look at things like that. The way that they walk and parade through the city is unbelievable. I played the Melbourne derby versus Melbourne City versus Melbourne Victory, but also prior to Melbourne City was the Melbourne Heart, and these are huge, 50,000 people. And I was at Melbourne Heart when we weren't doing so good, and Melbourne Victory were doing so well, but it was only this game that mattered at the time. And many times we won this game. Didn't matter what form we had, didn't matter the result the previous round. It all became, about the derby. And that's the first fixture you look at on the calendar, is the derby matches. You don't care who you play first. You don't care who you play last. Some boys probably look around Christmas and New Year's, what the fixture is then, to see if there's any days off. But I'm like everyone else. I get excited. I get nervous before these big games. And I feel like I've been able to, in my experience, get those nerves and turn it into positive energy, and get a bit more energy in my legs, and it all comes mentally. If there's a run that needs to be made, we run. If to get on the end of a cross, we'll do everything we can. And we know this by the viewers being on, watching the game on all around the country. There's a lot of eyes on us, so we know that. But yeah, I can say now that we are prepared. The coaches got us, very well drilled. Of course, some of the time, I'm not going to say a training session is boring, but it's repetitive in terms of knowing our jobs, and this is what we have to do, and on, and it gets to the point where you think, oh, okay, coach, we know what we're doing, but we're prepared. That's my point. Is we're going to go out there in a better form than what they are. They haven't had the longest preseason. It's a disadvantage in a way for them. I don't think the coach of East Bengal or the club will think any different. But we have to be wary of them. They have some good players, but we've been a team for longer. And I think that'll be, the game changer is how well we stick together as a team.
Ridhima, tomorrow, if this guy scores, if ATK Mohan Bagan scores, just have whatever prawns, etc. you want, send me the bill. Job done. No problem.
Borja, your closing remarks on Maradona.
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I couldn't hear that either.
Your closing remarks on Maradona, Borja, and I said...
Okay, closing remarks. Okay, yeah, okay. See, my closing remarks on both, actually. I mean, the derby tomorrow and Maradona, before we let David go. On Maradona, there will never be another one. And for me, he was a troubled soul. And having known him, the little that I did, I think he's better off in heaven with a football. Will there be another one with that level of talent? In not maybe in our lifetime. I'm 44 years old. I'll live maybe another 30 odd years. I don't think I'll see another Maradona. I'll fondly go back to YouTube and check the videos like David mentioned. Coming to the derby tomorrow, trust me, even Diego Maradona would have been proud to have been part of that derby, seeing the passion. It is that kind of a derby. And all of Kolkata, all of Bengal, all of India. When have you heard this level of buzz for ISL? Tell me. ISL has been around 5-6 years. Mrs. Ambani has done an incredible job with the ISL. Sanjeev, for example, with ATK has done fantastic. Now with ATK Mohan Bagan, whether it's Sanjeev and Srinjoy and the whole management. But this year, with ATK Mohan Bagan, all of a sudden you're like, boss, this is some tournament. And that's where David Williams and Roy Krishna and the rest of the boys, they take center stage. For me tomorrow, as you know, Ridhima, I've had 2 COVID tests. I was down with fever. All I was praying was I need to commentate tomorrow. So I will commentate tomorrow. And I will commentate, but I will keep quiet if I concede a goal. So I will be partisan when I commentate. That's how it will be. So all I want is these guys to win tomorrow.
Well, all I can say is all the best, gentlemen. And thank you so much for joining in, David. Thanks a lot for your time. Thank you so much, Borja. Thanks a lot for joining in. And in the end, I'd just like to say, muchas gracias, Diego. Thank you for everything that you've done. And I, along with all the fans in India, wish you the peace that you have, and just that we're really, really going to miss you. Thank you, everyone, for joining in on Sports Today. And stay tuned. We've lots more coming your way.